Sunrisers Hyderabad tried valiantly, but they couldn't overcome the powerhouse that was Delhi Capitals today. You're watching another episode of End of Today's Play, and this is Uninvited Opinions. So it was the second qualifier between those two teams, and the winner was due to play the Mumbai Indians in the final. Let's take a quick look at the scorecard. So Delhi won the toss and interestingly chose to bat first. They made an interesting move at the top of the order as well, sending in Marcus Stoinis to open with Shikhar Dhawan, and they put on a fantastic opening partnership to put Delhi on track for a big score. So Dhawan scored a half century, and there were very useful contributions from Stoinis and Shimron Hetmeyer. From Sunrise's bowling perspective, it was an off day for two of the key bowlers, Jason Holder and Shahbaz Nadeem. And even though the other bowlers sort of kept things tight, they just leaked too many runs. And Delhi set up an imposing target of 190. And at the mid-innings break, you thought, is Sunrisers going to keel over? Thankfully, that didn't happen. Even though David Warner went early, there were useful partnerships all along the way. And there was a key phase in the game where Kane Williamson was expertly guiding the team. And in company of Abdul Samad, it felt that they might take Sunrisers close. Unfortunately, the Delhi bowlers had other plans. Kagiso Rabada took 4 wickets, and so did Marcus Stoinis, who had a fantastic all-round game, taking 3 wickets with the ball. And in the end, DC won by 17 runs. Nags, I think it's safe to say that the 17-run victory margin was actually not reflective of how close the contest it was.
Yes, 30 runs to win of the last 2 overs with Samad and Rashid Khan at the crease. And actually Samad hoiking Kagiso Rabada over mid-wicket for the second ball 6 in the 19th over. You thought, oh, hang on, I think the game is far from over. But I think what followed was the final blow, and Sunrisers finally were bundled out pretty much in that over. So all in all, a great performance by Delhi. They came out with a purpose. They had actually studied the pattern of how Sunrisers approach their game. They also knew that they had actually lost twice before in the league phase to Sunrisers, and both while chasing a target. So this time they decided to set a target instead. And at the toss, you knew some kind of a surprise was going to be put up for Sunrisers when Shreyas Iyer said Prithvi Shaw goes out. And Mark Nicholas asked him, so what your opening combination is going to be? And he said, that's our strategy. We don't want to let it out yet. So it was obvious that it wasn't going to be the obvious choice of Rahane and Shikhar Dhawan. So as expected, it was a surprise indeed in the form of Stoinis, and it was a great move. Stoinis had showed that he had the mettle to play at the top of the order in the previous game, where although playing in the middle order, he was pretty much there in the third over. As you said, a couple of bowlers from the Sunrisers side actually had an off day. It was bound to happen. Racking up 5 good performances on the trot is difficult, and you are bound to have an off day. And when the opposition actually is so purposeful, it kind of shows even more. So they were not at the best in the field as well. There were a lot of drop chances. The drop chance of Stoinis, I think, in the second or the third over by Jason Holder at short mid-on costed them a lot. And it was great to see Shimron Hetmeyer come into the side and being used for the actual purpose that he has been bought by Delhi, which is the power hitting and the big flourish at the end. And that's exactly what they got from him.
So I think Sunrisers would be kicking themselves because, as you mentioned, they were sloppy in the field. Jason Holder put down a chance of Stoinis, which they should have taken. There were a couple of misfields which went for boundaries. Even later in the innings, when Shikhar Dhawan was, offered a chance, a regulation catch which Rashid Khan dropped. So all in all, you could see that probably the occasion got to them. They weren't the tight bowling unit that they're usually accustomed to seeing. I think they served up too many short balls for the Delhi batsmen, and it sort of played right into the game plan. Delhi also probably looked at the way Mumbai batted against them when they were put into bat first and decided, okay, this is a new pitch. We would have the opportunity to, try and set up a big score, and exactly that's what they did. And then when it came to the turn of the Sunrisers Hyderabad to bat, I was actually quite pleased that to see that they sort of approached the innings positively despite the setbacks that they've had in terms of key personnel being unavailable. So they had to promote Priyam Garg to open with David Warner, but despite losing those wickets, the team sort of showed the confidence that, you know what, we can still sort of chase this total down. And they kept going at it. And at no stage did it seem that they were completely out of the game.
Yeah, they didn't ever looked resigned. Even when Williamson and Holder were there together in the middle in the chase, we were looking forward to a repeat performance. And Williamson pretty much served up an even more superlative performance. But I think there was enough quality on the Delhi side to keep chipping in and take those crucial wickets. And some of the inexperience in the Sunrisers batting lineup actually showed. But I thought you were asking the other day for RCB to look for some big hitting Indian lower middle order player. And I think Sunrisers, if they persist with Abdul Samad, could prove to be someone of that kind, of that mold, with the big hitting prowess. And he showed that he has been underutilized. And if given enough opportunity, he is someone to look forward to and nurture for the future. So he, along with Williamson, actually put on a rapid 50 plus stand. So you felt that even at the fall of Holder's wicket, there was enough meat in this batting lineup to challenge the Delhi attack.
From Sunrisers' perspective, that is what would please them the most. I think they've got a good core of units. They've got a good mix of experienced players and young players that they've identified, and they would like to persist with. So it'll be interesting to see how they come back next season, and hopefully they can have a lot more players from their squad fitter, which will allow them a chance to compete more consistently throughout the tournament. But hats off to them. They put on a fantastic run of victories to get them this far. Unfortunately, today wasn't the day because, and I say this with a fair amount of conviction, and you won't disagree. They had the player of the match, standing in their way, which I think has to be Marcus Stoinis. He came out wielding those Popeye arms right out at the front, smashing those sixes and boundaries at will. And then when it came to his bowling efforts, for a minute I thought that the best chance for Sunrisers would be to target the fifth bowler, which was probably going to be a combination of Stoinis and Praveen Dubey. But he proved to be in fantastic bowling form today and took key wickets, which derailed the chase.
Absolutely. Couldn't have asked for a more well-rounded performance. You bat him at the top, you bat him in the middle. He has an imposing presence. And also he is no mug with the ball. Even the other day when he bowled, he was brought in for just a changeover, 1 over, 2 over spell. He normally just chips in with a wicket or two. So today he bowled those cross seam deliveries very well and got those crucial wickets when needed. He is an intelligent bowler, a thinking bowler. So I think more than a capable sixth bowling option for DC.
Absolutely. Just an interesting fact: the ball with which he got Kane Williamson, throwing it wide outside the off, and Kane Williamson was caught at deep point. It was very similar to the dismissal that Mayank Agarwal had in the first game of the tournament against Kings 11, and it was similarly again Marcus Stoinis bowling the last over, and that derailed the Kings 11 chase. And today, again that his dismissal of Kane Williamson decisively swung the chase in favor of the Delhi Capitals. So all in all, a great game for him, and he'll be hoping to carry this confidence in when he's up against Bolt and Bumrah in the final. So that's going to be a mouth-watering clash. Are you going to be brave enough to pick a winner?
No, not certainly. Mumbai still remain the favorites, and the form that they have exhibited, it's hard to look beyond them. But if you ever looked for a worthy contender to compete in the finals against Mumbai and actually take on the might of Mumbai, among all the other 7 teams, DC are the most competent, if I may say so, in all departments. Of course, their confidence was lacking. Now, this victory would do their morale a world of good. And if they keep springing some such surprises, I think Prithvi Shaw will most likely sit out in the finals as well. So it could be a toss-up between whether they open with Ajinkya Rahane or with Stoinis, depending on the surprise element. And depending on the availability of Bolt, fortunes could swing a little bit. But I think if they keep up this performance, they can certainly compete with Mumbai.
It'll certainly be interesting to see. Delhi have played Mumbai thrice this tournament, and they've twice in the league stage, once in the first qualifier, and they've lost all on all 3 occasions. And it's also going to be a matter of nerves because this is Delhi's first final in ever for their franchise, whether it be Delhi Capitals or the erstwhile Delhi Daredevils. So it's going to be interesting to see, how they deal with the pressure on the day. Mumbai, on the other hand, are experienced, multiple champions of the IPL. So they know exactly what to bring to the table. So I just hope that it doesn't mirror the one-sided clashes that we've seen between these two teams in the league stages, but instead ends up being, a close contest like the game we saw today. Another point, we've also got the Women's T20 Challenge final tomorrow. It's between the Trailblazers and the Supernovas, teams led by Smriti Mandhana and Harmanpreet Kaur, which is going to be played in Sharjah. So hopefully, we're looking for a close game there as well. We'll bring you our analysis of tomorrow's game. That's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to keep more videos coming your way. And as always, we'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe.